G-Eazy is here. He is my guest today. I love when my guests show up with gifts.
A little bit of juice.
Tell everybody what you brought me today.
Just some Stillhouse. I just partnered with a whiskey brand, so I just wanted to come bring you a gift.
I think it's very cool that you're a whiskey drinker. It's not the norm.
Yeah, I'm not the norm.
Well, this is true.
Yeah.
We're gonna find out exactly how not the norm today, hopefully.
Yeah.
Can I smell it?
Absolutely. It smells good. That one is mint chip. Yeah.
What does that even mean?
It means that it's mint chip flavored. It tastes like ice cream. It smells like ice cream.
It really
We've
does.
got a few flavors, yeah.
I'm waiting for ice, right? Because we got to do it right. Oh, there's ice here in the room.
Just take a shot.
Do you have to do this everywhere you go? Are you drinking whiskey? Okay.
No. I'll be on the floor.
Okay, that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
What your tolerance level is like.
I mean, my tolerance is, yeah.
Mine is not. I'm a 2 and done. 3, it's like a full party,
Yeah.
and then 4, I'm sleeping. Good night.
I did one thing with XXL where we did something on camera. It was like an interview where we had to go shot for shot. So if you had to guess like over under or something like that, it was me and the homie at XXL. And if you were like you were off, like guess how many followers somebody has or something like that. Right. And
that's
if you
a good
were
game.
over or under, you had to take a shot. And we went until the 5th was finished. So me and him just polished off a 5th of whiskey, like right there, like in like 15 minutes.
Did you say anything crazy?
I might have had. I don't know. I never watched the interview. I didn't want to see myself that drunk.
You can't watch that back.
Yeah, I was completely smacked. I was on the floor.
So
I made it back to my Airbnb where I was staying, but yeah, I was.
Are you an Airbnb-er?
Yeah, I like Airbnbs when I can.
Me too. It's risky though. I've had amazing experiences. I've had terrible experiences.
Yeah.
It's risky. Is this for me? Mm-hmm. I'm excited.
Cheers.
Salute. Congratulations, by the way, on the smash.
I appreciate that a lot.
And good to meet you finally.
You too.
This whole thing? Doing the whole thing?
It's real smooth.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah.
That's really good. That's dangerous.
It is. It's dangerous.
That's a problem. That tastes like mint chip ice cream.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. What are you doing, sir? We're done here. No more. Oh, okay. You know what I mean? I got a job to do today. So what's happening? So we got the singles on Smash right now, right? Is it playing everywhere in the country as much as in New York?
Yeah.
Is this like a everywhere?
I mean, y'all are probably like extra behind it, and that I love and appreciate. I mean, that means a lot to me. Like being from the Bay, New York always felt like a million miles away. And we really have our own culture in the Bay, and sometimes it's isolated there.
It feels a little disconnected,
It feels a little disconnected, you know what I'm saying? Like outsiders, out-of-towners, when they come, they don't fully get it. And when we leave and go other places, we feel like they don't fully get it. So we kind of support our own, and for that, it's a very rich culture there. And you got a lot of legacy, a lot of history from Mac Dre to E-40 to Too Short to Mr. Fab, and, the whole hyphy movement of the mid-2000s. And a lot of great music has come out of the Bay, but growing up, I always felt like New York and its own legacy was a million miles away, And, to be out here right now, and I'm riding around, like, doing these interviews and stuff, and I'm,
getting
like,
love
hearing it on the radio on y'all's, like, nonstop, and that's, like, for me, that's a really big deal, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's just a different thing. I mean, I know you've had success, and you've had and you kind of came in a little differently. Some people get that radio record, and then they're off and running, but you've been off and running on your own.
Yeah, I keep wanting to take out Instagram and do a story every time it's on.
Do you
it's
really?
like, it was just on 20 minutes ago. You just posted Instagram. It's going to keep happening. They're playing it, Gerald. Like, you could chill. But, nah, I mean, that's how much I really appreciate it.
That's great.
For
How did the Cardi collabo? What is that? I'm sure you've answered that, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure it looks crazy random.
It's super random, but the timing is impeccable.
The timing is impeccable. That was just organic. I played a show with her like a year ago, I want to say.
What was she doing a year ago? Like looking like I caught a lick? Like that?
Yeah.
Was it that moment? Okay.
I have been following her since a little before that. Like, she had put a project on iTunes, and it was going up the charts. And, obviously from her stories on her Instagram and her snaps and stuff. And just, like, she's such a personality.
Like
you know what I mean? And she was just like so original and so different and so unapologetically herself.
Yeah.
And that's what I respected, and that's what I like flocked to and followed. So I just kind of kept tabs on her, and we played that show, and I got to meet her backstage, and I watched her perform, and I was like, yo, she's a full-blown superstar.
Yeah.
Full-blown.
And then were you together when you did it?
Nah,
Different
I was with
studios?
Rocky in the studio. We knocked it out like 15 minutes, whatever.
He's a special little one, too.
Yeah.
He got a special little swag about him.
Yeah. There's only one. He's a one-on-one.
Yeah. Did you know him before that?
Yeah. I opened up. He had me open up his first, not his first show here. in the city. It was at Irving Plaza. And we met in L.A. through my manager, Jamil, who's like my best friend. And he just pulled up, and we were kicking it one night, just smoking blunts. And this was right after, like... Of
course you were.
This was like right before his first mixtape drop. Like,
I feel a little dizzy, by the way. I just want to add to the conversation. I feel a little off-center. So if it looks like I'm totally paying attention to you, it's just...
You're right here with it. You're
I'm
good.
right
Don't
here
worry.
with you. Okay, carry on. You met A$AP Rocky.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Right.
And yeah, he was. We were working at the same studio, so we just, just he came by and we were just catching up. You know what I'm saying? And next thing you know, we I was just planning some of the album, some of what I was working on, and Boy Wonder was with us. And by the way, happy birthday to Boy Wonder. He produced the song.
Got it.
So he was just playing beats, and he played that one, and then it was like, oh shit, this is crazy. Yeah, and like 15 minutes later, I want to say the song was there.
Wow.
So sent it off to her, and she knocked it out like instantly.
I just love her. I'm just so happy for her. And it's great that this happened. This is actually not just for you a great thing, but for her it's a great thing too, because that song was so big, and then it's like for a lot of people to come after that.
Yeah.
Especially somebody like her where the odds were against her and she beat them and she had this humongous smash. To have something else on the radio right after is like, it kind of just cements like.
Absolutely.
It's not a one-time thing.
Nah, she's not a one-time thing. And that's what I'm trying to say about like what I saw when I first saw her perform is pure. And somebody, you know, when you're an artist, you either have it or not. And there's no definition of it. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like that intangible thing that just makes somebody different.
Yeah.
Makes somebody special. And I feel truly that you see it when they perform live. Like a lot of people can, I mean, it all matters.
Yeah.
It absolutely all matters. You know what I'm saying? You know, how you work in the studio, what your work ethic across the board is like. But when you're live, you're in front of real people. You know, and she just had that presence of a superstar.
She's a superstar. Yeah, and you work with my girl Kaylani too, who I just love.
That's Lil Sis. Yeah. She's on the album too again.
Yeah.
There's a couple people that I feel like will probably be on every album I ever release.
Like who? Kaylani.
E-40.
E-40.
Yeah, E-40 will be on every single album. Yeah, and just certain producers I go see.
How dope is that? Because like, how old were you when he was like, when he came out?
I mean, my whole life.
Right.
Yeah, literally. I mean, he's been rapping as long as I've been alive. I mean, literally down there.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, he is the ambassador of the Bay. That's, you know, that's the voice of our whole area.
So how do you get in there? How do you build that relationship? Like, how does that feel to you to even have this relationship with him when he's on?
First time I want to say like 5-6 years ago, we got connected over a phone call, and we were just chopping it up. And I had a record I really wanted to get to him.
Were you freaking out?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I still like, you know, a part of me is still starstruck. You know what I'm saying? And I'll forever like, you know, those legends that I grew up listening to, that I respect that highly. You know what I'm saying? I always appreciate just being in their presence and just, you know what I'm saying, being able to talk to them or pick their brains or make music with them.
It's great access to have.
Yeah, for real. I mean, that's a bank of experience and knowledge and game.
What he put you on to? Did he give you any game?
Yeah. Just always stay consistent and always stay humble, you know, and always come home and always be gracious, always be respectful and just appreciate the blessings that come. And that sounds obvious, you know what I'm saying? But
not always.
It's not always obvious.
No.
And that you know, that keeping your team together, like staying with the people that you started with and just having that core.
Yeah, that's good advice. That's good. And from him, I'm sure you probably would take it. You're like, okay,
yeah,
I'll take it. I'll take it all.
Anything
I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah.
Do you have the same team that you started out with?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's good. That's dope. Doesn't always work that way.
I met this guy right here. Shouts out Jamilio, like probably 10 years ago.
And you still like him? Does he get on your nerves?
Day to day.
Does he get on your nerves?
Yeah, it's day to day.
So what's your life like? So I know you tour a lot, but you just got a crib, right? You have like a crib now.
Yeah.
Is this your first crib? Is your first crib?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, my last crib was a suitcase.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Right? Like you own it, right? You're not rental, you're not Airbnb.
No, I bought it. The neighbors hate me. They complain about the noise and the people over all the time and the late nights.
Why? What's going on in your crib?
A lot.
Really?
A lot.
Like what's happening in
there?
You
know, and my neighbors are old. I live in the hills,
right.
you know, like and they come knocking and they're like da-da-da-da-da, and I'm like, I mean, honestly, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to bother you or disrespect you, but you can't kick me out. I bought it in cash. I have no mortgage. Did
you really buy it in cash? That is respectable.
Yeah.
That's a nice thing to be able to do.
I worked for it. I waited a long time until I was, you know, so I just saved up. Yeah.
But you're never there, right? Or are you there?
Nah, so I actually I mean, when I say we were on the road for like damn near 5 years, you know, from when we started touring to the end of the last album, I finally after that was like, okay, for this next album, the one I'm about to release now, The Beautiful and Damned, I really just locked in and I blocked out a lot of time to just be home, and I put a studio in my house and just went to work.
That's
you
good.
know, really just like.
So you did the album in your house?
Yeah, I did the album in my house. I mean, I did a couple songs in the studio, but for the most part, it was like everybody coming to my house. E-40's definitely come to my house. Yeah.
Pretty great.
Yeah. Yeah. We had some legendary sessions at my crib.
I bet.
Yeah.
Lots of
One time
weed
he was.
smoke.
Yeah. I mean, cause Unc like he's an early riser, so he'll call me at like 7 in the morning. I'm like, Unc, like, yo, how do you get up so early?
Is that what you call him, Unc?
Yeah. And so one night we were in a late session there, and he was like maybe 2 bars away from finishing his verse or something, and he was kind of nodding off, and I'm like, damn, I got 2 options. Either I could just let Unc slide, or I could just, you know what I'm saying, the one person in the room that could probably tap him and wake him up and like push him to finish the verse or whatever. And I did, and he finished it, and it was a legendary verse.
That's dope. It's important too for like people from where you're from to pay respect and to make sure people know the legacy, because like you said, everything sometimes gets fragmented. Like we were watching the BET Awards and watching like all those people from Miami show up for Luke that way and represent him in a way that, yes, everybody can understand his contributions, but if you're from Miami, you have a different kind of appreciation and connection to like what Luke did for that, which is like the same thing kind of for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think it's our duty to carry on tradition and to, you know, just remind people of the legacy and the history, you know, of the culture of where you're from.
Totally. So what happens now? So what's the next step? So now you got this big ass record.
Yeah.
You're going back on tour.
Yeah.
Album.
Yeah. The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
What is it?
Night by night.
Is that the plan? I see you're diversifying. You have little businesses on the side here.
Yeah.
You have a whiskey.
Yeah.
Is there more?
You know, there's a lot in the works. I would love to get into acting one day or something.
Really?
Like that.
I could see this for you.
We did a short film that's attached to the album.
Okay.
It's kind of tied into like the whole concept of the album. It's kind of about this Gerald versus G-Eazy, like self-destructive path for this like sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And G-Eazy is the wild, out of control rock star guy, and Gerald is just the, you know, the humble kid who, you know, started rapping when I was 13. You know what I mean? And like, we had nothing. We just had I had a dream of chasing this and, you know, taking this around the world and becoming this thing. And, you know, along the path, you know, the game kind of changes.
So are you playing 2 people in the?
Yeah. So in the short film that we did, it's kind of like Fight Club. It's kind of like Tyler Durden versus, you know, the other guy.
Right.
And you see us literally like, you know, to represent self-destruction, G-Eazy literally, you know, kills Gerald. Or so you think.
Why?
Yeah. You gotta see you gotta see the movie. Nah, he doesn't.
G-Eazy wins?
If I told you at all, it would spoil the ending. You gotta see the movie.
All right, fine. Fine. G-Eazy. I guess it depends, right? You have to wait and see. I guess I have to watch it. All right. So album, touring.
Yeah.
Movies. I see that for you.
Yeah.
You seem. I know you have like your background is interesting too, because you spend a lot of times in different places. I know you spent a lot of time in New Orleans. I mean, from the Bay, New Orleans.
Yeah, New Orleans will always be a second home.
You went to school there, right?
Yeah, I moved there when I was 18.
That's a beautiful place to go when you're 18.
Beautiful. And I mean, it was eye-opening and just broadened my horizons. You know what I mean? For me to go out there and get out of, you know, the Bay, which was my world and my understanding of the world, and then to move to New Orleans and get this whole new experience.
And were you committed even then at 18? Like, this is what you wanted to do?
Oh, yeah. No, I came out there, like, slanging mixtapes the day I landed.
Yeah, the day you landed.
Yeah.
Why even go?
Full of
what was the commitment? How did you
airport.
even get into, like, then why were you, how did you maintain school? Like, how were you?
I mean, I'm not saying I was, like, good at school.
But you were there.
I was there.
Which is more than a lot of people.
Like, maybe physically
right.
there, not all the time mentally or, you know, present. But, yeah, just, you know, did what I had to do to
Did
whatever.
You finish?
Yeah, I did. I ended up finishing.
Amazing.
It took me a little longer, but yeah. You know, but I don't know. I kind of had this confidence and this vision that, you know, I believed it would work itself out eventually, you know. Like, I've been making music this long. This is all I've wanted to do, so.
So here we are.
Here we are.
So what did you study? It was like music something, right?
It was all music related. Like, so I got to take, you know, classes about, you know, music business and stuff like that. But I think
that's
really
helpful.
more than anything, it was the people I met there.
Yeah.
You know, because you got old heads like, you know, it was more so about
Who was you about to call an old head?
Nah, I mean, I'm saying, like, you know, the music business is changing forever.
Yeah.
You know, every day it changes. You know, you can get out of touch really fast.
Yeah.
So the kids are always the most in touch and the most, you know, with their, you know, finger on the pulse of what's going on. And this game is literally one of the fastest moving, you know. You could be relevant and in the mix like one day, and then next month be finished, you know.
We've seen it many times.
Yeah, you just have to stay tapped in.
Yeah, I totally agree. So what's the plan? Where do you see for yourself like 5 years down the line?
The biggest thing in the world, Angie.
In the world?
Biggest thing in the world.
What does that look like, though? Does that look like just an artist? Are you gonna run a whole empire?
Nah. I mean, I would love to, you know, grow into like a Puff. You know, ultimately, like, you know, getting behind other artists that I believe in and helping open doors and whatnot, and just, you know, provide opportunities and platforms and whatnot. When I was coming up, you know, and not that it's as necessary as it was before per se, but I never had no cosign or, you know what I mean? Nothing
That's
like
so
that.
hard
like,
for people in the game.
I wasn't signed like that at first, you know what I mean? Like, and it's hard. So when you're just like trying and not really getting nowhere, it's like, you know, what do you do?
Hit
so
the
just
road?
being able to,
Mixtapes and hit the
just
road.
Hit the road. You know, I mean, no one's gonna do it for you. So
yeah. What were those first shows like though?
Atrocious.
I bet.
Yeah, atrocious.
Because what kind of towns were you going into? Were you going into like all types of towns?
All types of towns.
Really?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I was. Yeah, it was real ugly, and you would make enough to get to the next city.
Yeah.
You know, and you're opening up whatever tour you could open up, making $100 a night. You know what I'm saying? Barely getting gas money, barely, you know, eating, getting to the next city, and it's crazy because if you're dedicated to it, you don't really have time to keep a job. You know, so we all lost our jobs, and we were all
had a job?
to this. Of course.
What was it?
I had a job since I was old enough to work. When I was 14,
doing?
I was working at it's a spot called Top Dog in North Oakland. It has nothing to do with Top Dog ENT.
Hot dogs?
Yeah, it was hot dogs.
Was it?
Yeah, and I ran the whole thing. I was working the grill, the cash register.
Because you were smart. You know how to write.
Yeah, so, you know, I mean, I always...
Were you moving mixtapes out of there?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Hell yeah. I would have it on the little CD player they had in the restaurant. You know, it's no shame in my game, man. I was trying to, you know. And, I mean, my homies would come by the little restaurant and just post up with me and just, you know, yeah.
That's a good story. So BET Awards, did you watch? Because we've been debating this Eminem verse in the room. Is it a little cliche that I ask you that question? I don't mean it that way, but is that a bad?
I mean, I think if you asked anybody what you thought of that verse,
anybody in hip hop, right? Okay.
You know, I mean, from a social and political standpoint, and how, you know, powerful and passionate he delivered that, and how important it was.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
From a straight gas perspective, you wouldn't find nobody that said I wasn't fire, you know. And I just thought, like, somebody of his obvious, you know, stature and importance and his legacy and being the greatest ever, you know what I mean? Like, to do that on that platform and to say it that loudly and that profoundly and that, you know, powerfully and that passionately, I respected it.
Yeah, I think so too. I heard that, I mean, you know, social media will always give you a negative spin on anything that happens positive. But my immediate reaction when I saw it was like, that's what you do with a voice.
Yeah, that's what you do
with a voice. When you have
a
platform and you have a voice, that's what you do with it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, the debate could be like, are those his best bars? I don't know if they were his best bars or not, but I know it was important, and I know I felt it, and I know I appreciated his
stance. I think that's what matters. And
you know what I mean?
You know, as what you said about the internet having or whatever, I think what you just said is what matters. You know, the people in position with voices as well, you know, the people with minds and the ability to articulate, you know what I'm saying? Like your feedback or your perspective on it, that's what matters. You know what I mean? Other than that, it's like,
it's the internet.
Yeah, it's the internet. You know, I mean, you can't place that much, you know, importance on what any meme says or what anybody with a Twitter account. You know, everybody can say what they want to say, and that's the beauty of it. You know what I'm saying? But I think ultimately we have gatekeepers and people in place to, you know what I mean? Like you.
Oh, thanks. And like you now.
For sure.
Anybody got a platform that big and a voice. I mean, you got a voice. That's what you do, right? It's what you do with it that matters, and how you move people and move the culture and make people feel things. So yeah, I thought it was really important, and I loved his line in the sand because he didn't have to do that.
Yep.
Some people play it safe.
No, I think
some
that
people
was
don't want to offend.
powerful. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was really good. It's really good. Anyway, so what else? What are you into? What do you like? What do you? I don't know like your taste. I mean, I know you like E-40 and people from the Bay, but
yeah, I have a very eclectic taste.
Yeah,
in
I would
music.
imagine that.
Yeah, I mean everything
from Cardi B to A$AP Rocky.
From Cardi B to Playboy Cardi.
Right.
You know? So
right.
literally to a whole lot of old Bay Area, like Mac Dre deep cuts. You know, to I listen to a lot of other music too.
Do you?
I listen to a lot of Johnny Cash, old stuff. I think Daniel Caesar, his album is incredible. That's probably what I've been listening to the most lately. Kendrick, I mean, obviously that album is impeccable.
Have you met him?
I think one time I met him at one of Kobe's last games.
It's a good dude, right?
In L.A. Yeah, he was hella cool.
Yeah.
He was a schoolboy, and like, you know, having never met him before, I didn't know if he even knew who I was or would acknowledge me or anything. You know what I mean? I wouldn't just assume anything.
Right.
And he walked up and he was just super cool and just humble and down to earth and just shook my hand and just told me respect. Like, that was fire.
Is that weird to you that people, certain people know you now?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a fan.
Yeah.
You know, and I look up to these guys. I respect them. So, you know, to get love like that is always, you know, it's dope.
So talk about this album.
Yeah.
What we need to know.
It's called The Beautiful and Damned. It's a double album, so it's 20 songs. It's 10
Nobody
and 10.
does that anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I'm calling it that, like, for what it is. Like, you know, it's basically like the concept of it is kind of split in half, and it's 2 CDs. But you know, for all intents and purposes, it's
Music,
20 songs.
Right,
it's just a
20
long
songs.
album. Yes. And the concept of it is kind of like it's about the lifestyle, the beautiful and damned, like the being a kid, like having a dream of doing this, like starting from square one, you know, from the outside looking in, from having nothing to chasing this dream. And then all these years down the road of, you know, following this yellow brick road of like, you know, trying to get to where you're going, one day waking up and being like, you know, did it take me where I wanted to go? Is this fantasy of like all this, like, you know, this whole sex, drugs, and rock and roll kind of cliche is a cliche for a reason. I mean, this stuff gets dark. And all of a sudden, these substances that you lean on, that you're surrounded by, this fast-paced lifestyle that you're, you know, inescapably in 24/7, you know, are you addicted to these things? Is it becoming unhealthy? Did you some way, like, took a bad turn and end up somewhere that you didn't want to be? You know what I mean? It's like looking in the mirror, and it's very easy to.
Yeah.
There's all these, like, you hear these stories before, you know, and you hear them for a reason, because it's like, it becomes like you got to keep your head on straight.
Yeah.
You got to look in the mirror constantly and check yourself and ask yourself, like, yo, am I leaning too hard on these substances? Am I getting out of control? Am I lying and cheating to the, you know, to the relationships or the people that's, you know what I mean, held you down from day one? Am I becoming, you know, a person I didn't want to be? So that's like the beautiful and damned aspect of looking at this celebrity and Hollywood and, you know, rock and roll and crazy wild lifestyle, and just trying to like keep it together and remain not forget where I'm from, and be a good human being.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's so easy to get out of control and just trying to keep it together.
The fact that you even are insightful enough to kind of see that so early, because usually people don't see that till it's too late, and they have to go through some real terrible shit,
right? And
then assess everything.
Yeah.
Like that you could assess it while it's happening.
Yeah. And I think that's like where the album ends. At the very end is that assessment, and that, like, you know what, before this is too late, you know, I've come all this way, and I'm like gonna check myself and try to, you know what I'm saying,
get right, be right.
Try to be right. Yeah. You know, that's all we can aim to be.
What was you leaning on?
You know,
all of it?
All of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you not anymore?
It's sex, drugs, and alcohol. It's like a real thing, you know. I mean, I'm still, you know, I maneuver day to day, and I try to do the best I can, and you know,
you're in a
watch
relationship.
Out for what I watch out
that's
for.
a good plus.
Yeah, and it's a healthy one.
Is it? That's
she's
great.
Real cool.
What did you call her on the internet? Fucky? Is that what you called her? What was that? Was that the name? Was that the name? Was like is that wrong? That's what you said?
Nah, that's just you know, what's up, Fucky?
I thought that was so funny.
Yeah, that's really crazy.
That sounds like a healthy relationship.
I mean, you know, as healthy as two crazy people being in a relationship can be, you know, of course, you know, we're wild and crazy. Just, you know, she's the female me.
Is that right?
We're literally like, you
met your match?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's inspiring being with somebody who works so hard, you know, and here's the thing, like, as I'm talking about this, like, lifestyle and navigating these potholes and whatnot, it's like, as you know, even the people around me can kind of like who live with me and live it day to day. Like, no one fully gets being an artist like an artist does, and I think that's why you see a lot of artists
together.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's a unique thing that like you could explain it 100,000 times, and you know, I don't know if
it's how you look at the world, right? It's how you process it.
You know what I'm saying? Like this music is me. This is my whole life. Like I don't take the skin off. I don't take the costume off and go be Gerald. You know what I'm saying? So it's like day to day, like having somebody that's in it as well is cool.
That's dope. Is that your first time dating somebody who also is like an artist? And
no, I dated people.
Yeah. Because sometimes it's either really good or really bad.
Yeah. And I mean that's the up and down. That's the tumultuous aspect of it. But you know.
Well, good. So that's good. So you got a healthy relationship. You got some balance. You know, we have a shot every now and then.
Yeah.
You got a smash record. It's good. You're on your way.
Yeah.
I don't know what. I don't know to what, but you're on your way.
Yeah, somewhere.
The ride is you're in it. You're all the way in it. On the other road. Congratulations on everything, baby.
I appreciate it.
It was great to meet you. I hope to do this again.
Yeah, much love.
After the album is like marinated and we can get into that.
Hell yeah.
That would be good. All right, one time, G-Eazy, everybody. Spot 1051.